Good evening and welcome back to West Talk, another amazing Tuesday here in Western Newfoundland in this beautiful fall season. Right off the top, I just want to remind you, early bird passes are still on sale at Marble Mountain, and now is a great time to grab those and save big for you and your family and your friends. So check that out. An exciting show for you today, but just like we've been doing all season, we're starting off with a book recommendation. And today, this book is Trains of Newfoundland. And for well over a century, the narrow gauge Newfoundland Railway played a vital role in the growth and development of the tiny island in the North Atlantic. From the commencement of construction in 1881 to the shutdown in 1988, it was the most colorful line, to say the least. It took over 547 miles to cross a 300-mile-wide island, which had curves sharper than grades, steeper than the Rocky Mountains. There were only 131 miles of straight track, a bridge for every 4 miles, and a human wind gauge for safety to let trains pass. In Newfoundland, the railway wasn't simply a means of transportation, it was a way of life. So a really, really cool story here by Kenneth G. Pirraway. We're going to recommend you find at a fine book retailer near you. It's published by the Flanker Press. But without further ado, we're going to jump right in with our first guest here. There's a really exciting new course offering by Memorial University starting up here in Corner Brook, a 6-week program to teach you a little bit about the Mi'kmaq language. And here to tell us about that today is instructor Dean Simon. Dean, thanks for coming in today.
Oh, happy to be here.
So what can you tell us just briefly about this new course offering?
Well, starting on November 4th, there was going to be a 6-week course offered through Grenfell, their extension services community. Basically, it's going to be 3 hours a night, so it's going to be a little bit more accelerated than what I've been offering virtually through Hollywood. This is a separate endeavor, of course. Grenfell reached out to me to teach this course. And it's hoped that after we get a run-through done, that we will offer this to the general student population as a credit course sometime in the semesters to come.
Okay, very interesting. And so you mentioned doing similar sort of courses and programming previously with Hollywood. Can you just take me back to sort of how you started as an instructor and someone who's teaching people about this language?
Yeah, so I just started out self-studying. I had a really good teacher at the beginning named Curtis Michael. Taught me to read and write, and once you know how to read and write, there's a whole lot of resources that are available to you to go off and self-teach. So it's a similar sort of approach that I've taken. We don't have fluent speakers to emulate on a daily basis, you know, somebody that... The normal process of things is that a young child spends 10, 12 hours with some speaking adult during every day and eventually becomes verbally fluent. You know, reading and writing comes well down the line in a normal process, but where we don't have fluent speakers to count on, we need to take the reading and writing approach, and so that people can teach themselves. And I self-studied for about 3 years, 4 years, and then I went off to Eskasoni, Cape Breton, and I self-immersed there for 2 years, and I got called back to teach with Hollywood about 2 years ago, and I've been doing that, and we're really doing well. We've got I've developed a curriculum of my own that's 7 levels, and we've got 10 people that have passed through level 3 now. We have 40 people that have passed through level 2, and we've got 60 people that passed through level 1, and they're ready to start level 2 this year. We'll have a new registration for level 1s, but yeah, we've got about 100 people that are actively studying right now. And,
all from this region?
Well, spread out throughout the Hollywood membership, actually.
Right.
Because
you were doing this virtually as well,
yes,
right? So
yeah.
there was, yeah.
Yeah, so there's more and more in-person interactions taking place, but it was all started off, of course, during the pandemic, and we were limited to virtual teaching, and we will continue to do that to serve members that are remote.
Yeah, a great way to reach people. I'm sure there's an interest for people all over the country to learn more about the language, right? So
yeah, and so this there's a cost to the course, like most of the
like
course,
all college courses,
right? But it's really focused in on. I'm hoping that people from the media, people from federal, provincial, municipal governments, who sometimes make announcements about Indigenous issues, just so that the pronunciation can get corrected over time. It's something they call cultural competence in professionalism. You try to reach out to the people that you're serving and to embrace the language, the culture, and I hope that we have 15 spots. I believe we've got 10 filled right now, and I'm really hoping that we can fill up those last 5 spots, just so that we get our feet wet and get through the process once with Grenfell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just again to bounce backwards again for a second, you mentioned your experiences going to Cape Breton, to further study and learn, and I think you used the term self-immersed.
Yeah.
So does this mean you were in an environment where you were constantly around the language and speaking full time in the language?
As much as possible. Unfortunately, I had to find work to sustain myself.
Right.
And my day job required a lot of reading and writing and speaking and listening in English, just because of the nature of dealing with government. Whenever we were on breaks, of course, the people at my workplace spoke Mi'kmaq, so I got to speak then and before and after work each day. I was actually I'm the only person to have gone through the immersion program in Cape Breton because there's a residency tied to it. So after I lived there for 6 months, I was eligible to go into their immersion program.
Really
and so I spent 2 years in their immersion program, which no other Newfoundlander has had an opportunity to do yet.
Wow. Very cool. So you feel very, like qualified to obviously further this language.
Yeah. I don't refer to myself as fluent at this point, but many other fluent speakers call me a speaker, so that's a term I'm getting comfortable with. I am a speaker, but I may be speaking like a 5 or 6 year old would in English.
Well, like you said, because of, and it's just like the exposure piece. Yeah. And that makes sense to me why you would take an approach of focusing more on the reading, writing aspect, because it's sort of, I guess, a little more tangible for people who can't be immersed all the time. It's like this helps. So, and is there any sort of high-level overview of how you can explain the learning process of this language? I mean, many of us here have gone through French immersion, where we first learn to conjugate verbs and vowels and start at that sort of level. Mm-hmm. How does this learning process compare to what maybe most people might have experienced when trying to learn French? I know the languages are different, but in terms of the process.
Yeah, it's very, very different than European languages. Anybody who's studied French before will know that learning Spanish, Italian, Portuguese after you learn one of the Latin languages becomes very quickly when you're picking up your second language, Latin language, for instance. Well, the same is true for Indigenous languages. There's a handful of Indigenous language families throughout Turtle Island, North America, and we belong to Algonquian language family. Now, I can listen to somebody speaking Maliseet or Wolastoqik from the southern New Brunswick, and I can pick up a fair amount of their conversation without ever having studied that language.
Interesting. So
Innu in Labrador is a little bit more distant relative, but still in that same language family. Anishinaabe Muen, and even Blackfoot, way out west, is a part of this language family, which would have started off at some sort of concentrated area and branched out and diversified.
Which is very interesting
over
to
time.
Think about, right?
Yeah. So the answer is that Algonquian languages are very, very different than European languages in that they're very verb-based. Everything is about verbs in the language. You know, even when you talk about the colors and the numbers, when you literally translate, when I say megweg, I am saying it is in the process of being read. So it's a verb. It's not a noun,
right.
an adjective.
Interesting.
In terms of numbers, if I say nanijik, it doesn't mean 5. It means there are 5 of those things. So it's all verbalized as opposed to nouns. And we often get requests for spirit names and stuff like that, which make really long, poetic, nouny type Englishy things, which is virtually impossible to translate back to Mi'kmaq, because that's just not the fundamental shape of the language.
That's awesome. And so for people who have a really high level overview in learning about all Aboriginal language, then learning Mi'kmaq or starting to learn Mi'kmaq is like opening the door to a big variety of, a big potential learning here, right?
Absolutely. I fully intend to learn Inuemun from Labrador in my lifetime, and that will be facilitated greatly by knowing how to speak Mi'kmaq.
Yeah. And I'll ask you more about the sort of the idea of targeting, you know, professionals and media people in a second, but what can you say about the sort of importance of furthering these languages and sort of keeping them alive? And is there a risk really now that some of this language could be lost if they're without people like yourself out here?
Absolutely. I did a tour of the reservations of Atlantic Canada this year, and I found out that there are several other First Nations that have lost, essentially, the language. There are no more speakers in their communities. And right now, I think the last time that anybody studied it, there were about 5,000 Mi'kmaq speakers. But the Maliseet people...
In Canada or in the world?
In the world, yeah. So, but 3,000 is a lot better shape than, say, the Maliseet, who have 60 speakers left, and they're all in their 60s and 70s.
Wow.
And other languages which have died completely. It's not an indigenous language, but people will realize that the Hebrew language died 2,000 years ago. And it started back again in the early 1900s, and now everybody in Israel speaks Hebrew.
How amazing.
So, I mean, it can be done. It's been dormant in Newfoundland for about 50, 60 years now. Yeah. Even in Conne River, which, if you go back to the 1970s, it was still a very strong Mi'kmaq-speaking community in the 70s. But us on the West Coast, our last speaker in Flat Bay was deceased in the 1980s. There was only a handful of others that could be identified maybe from the 50s up until that point. So the language on the West Coast has probably been dormant for over 100 years.
Wow. That's incredible stuff, Dean. And I just got the light from our producer there, which means it's time to bring this to a wrap. And can you just tell everyone at home now who is hearing this and interested, how do they go about signing up for this 6-week program?
So it's on the Grenfell website. You can register all online. And yeah, we're hoping to fill those last few spots. Just before we leave, I want to teach everybody how to say halibu. It's not ha, it's not la, and it's not pu. It's ha-li-bu, halibu.
Amazing. I've been working on that myself for a little while, and Keith Cormier once told me just say holly, like Christmas holly or whatever, and boo.
Right.
So remember Christmas, and
Holly
Halloween, and that helps. Holly boo.
Excellent.
Thanks a lot, Dean. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back to let you know about the events of the month with our friends Krista Hansen, Melanie Callahan, and David Smallwood. Stay tuned.
Hello, everyone. I am standing in front of a fabulous work by local artist Jackie Alcock. She has a display on from now until the end of November, so I hope you will drop by and see some of her fabulous work. Coming up in the theater, off-Broadway players are back in full form, and they are doing Queen's We Will Rock You. That's on from November 17th to 19th, and it's going to be an incredible show. Coming up the week after that, we have Bee Gees Gold Tribute on November 22nd. After that, on November 25th, we have Lilith. And this is a fundraiser for missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. Its performances are going to be by a lot of local artists. The show was fabulous last year, so get your tickets. It's going to be a wonderful show. After that, we have Barry Mary is Back. I know that a lot of our viewers and patrons really look forward to that. The tickets aren't on sale for that yet, but that's going to be on November 28th, so stay tuned. On November 30th, Kitty-Wake Dance is here from St. John's. I know a lot of our audiences love their show, and they are here with the Nutcracker. It's a favorite for sure, and it's going to be a wonderful show. Coming up after that, Celtic Christmas is back on December 3rd and 4th. It's one of my favorite shows, and I know you guys love coming out to see the Irish Descendants and the Navigators, and they do a wonderful show. So we look forward to seeing you here. On December 5th, Sheila Williams is back with her Christmas show. I think she's calling it the Christmas with Sheila Naughty Nice. We're not sure what Sheila you're going to get, so it's always a lot of fun. Sheila's a very fabulous singer and a wonderful entertainer, so check that out as well. On December 10th, we have Legendary Ladies Do Christmas. They were here back in the fall, and I know everybody loved the show, so this is another show with the ladies, and they are doing your favorite Christmas songs. Coming up on December 11th, The Once is back with their annual Christmas show. Again, I know it's a fan favorite. They do a fabulous job with some wonderful music. They also have out a new EP with some of their works that have been remastered, and sort of they're just looking at their music slightly differently. So I know that's going to be a great show. We've got lots more shows going in the system every day, so do check out our website, and we'll see you at the show.
Hello everybody, it's Brad. I'm with the Rotary Arts Center down here in the lower level of City Hall. Just want to let you guys know what we have coming up in the next couple of weeks. On November the 10th, we have the country music stylings of Carla Pilgrim. Carla Pilgrim is a multi-award nominee and winner with the ECMAs and Music NL. And joining Carla on stage are going to be Brian Way, who some of you may be familiar with, outstanding piano player, and also joining them is Paul Harris on drums. On November the 16th, we have a relatively new group to the area with not so newcomer musicians called Folk It. You heard me right. It's called Folk It. Folk It. In this group, it's a folk and traditional Newfoundland group. In the group is Wayne Parsons, Charlie Payne, and the wonderful Shirley Montague. And again, that's November the 16th. On the 17th, for something completely different, we have some Newfoundland indie rock with Kelly McMichael and her band. If you're not familiar with Kelly McMichael, she has just recently won awards at the Music NL conference from last weekend, and she was also shortlisted for the Polaris Music Prize. If you're not familiar with the Polaris Music Prize, it is a countrywide award that's given to an artist purely based on artistic merit. So it's not based on album sales or popularity, and she was one of the first Newfoundland artists to be nominated and shortlisted for that award. So definitely come down and check out Kelly McMichael and her band on the 17th. And then finishing up the month for a very well-rounded group of shows is the Isis Trio. This is a classical three-piece, well-known throughout the country, and Christine Carter is leading the group. She's been here performing at the Rotary Arts Center in the past. Some of you may be familiar with her work. Absolutely wonderful performer, and you guys should definitely check that out. And ending the month, we are working with the Grenfell campus theater school with the directed studies. So all the fourth-year students are part of their curriculum is to direct their own play. So that one's going to be free of charge. I should also note that all of our shows start at 8 p.m. and you should arrive a little bit early just to make sure you get your seats in a timely manner. And that's everything that we have this November. Thank you so much. And again, that's Brad here at the Rotary Arts Center. If you're looking for any tickets, you can find those on our website, rotaryartscenter.ca. You can give us a call down here at the center at 630-0012. Or you can just drop by the box office. We're open Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And again, we're in the lower level of City Hall. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Hello, my name is Megan Scott and I'm in my final year at Grenfell campus, and I'm also a student ambassador. Here are some events happening on campus in November for you. Starting November 7th, it'll be easier than ever to take a virtual course at Grenfell. Virtual GC is aimed at helping community members far and wide sign up for a virtual course without necessarily enrolling in a degree program. Check out our website for a list of offerings and learn how to register. Jose Lamb Startup Weekend is happening November 4th to 5th. In a day and a half, participants will be part of a team to experience the thrills and pains of starting a real company while engaging with skilled mentors, coaches, and potential investors. This is a free event. Register on Facebook or visit our website under For the Community. The Introduction to Mi'kmaq Reading, Writing, and Conversation course is being offered in 6 sessions on Friday starting November 4th until December 9th from 7 to 10 p.m. Instructor Dean Simon will provide expert instruction in interactive sessions and print and online resources. Registration is available under our website under our For the Community. Grenfell Theatre has 2 shows this month. The first is Hedda Gabler, showing November 2nd to November 5th at 8 p.m. The second is Winter's Tale by William Shakespeare, showing November 23rd to November 26th at 8 p.m. These productions will feature the work of our talented fine arts theater students. You don't want to miss them. Get your tickets at the Grenfell Theatre box office just before showtime or online. Campus Remembrance Day ceremony is happening on November 10th at 10 a.m. at the Danger Tree site. All are welcome. How should an L develop wind and energy? Find out on Wednesday, November 2nd at 7 p.m. at Bootleg Brew Co., 92 West Street. The Western Environment Center is hosting a timely and multi-phase discussion on developing wind energy in the province with Grenfell's Dr. Camille Oulet-Dallaire and Paul Weisel of the International Appalachian Trail. Free entry included with free food, but you must be 19 plus. We are offering the Home Alone virtual course on November 15th and 17th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Developed by the Canada Safety Council, it's designed to provide children ages 9 and older with the necessary skills and knowledge to be safe and responsible when home alone for short periods of time. Registration is also on our website under For the Community. Research Week is November 21st to 25th and will include a sneak peek open house at our new Center for Research and Innovation Center, the former HR building at the Mill. We can't wait to show you the beautiful new space. Watch our Facebook page for details for that. Grenfell is so proud to call Cornerbrook home, and we're committed to being an important piece of the fabric of the region. You are always welcome on campus. We invite you to join us for events and to visit our facilities like the Grenfell Art Gallery, Ferris Hodgett Library, the Observatory, the theater, and our bookstore. Free visitor parking in the roundabout by the flags when you visit. To stay up to date on all activities happening on campus, please visit our website at www.grenfell.mun.ca to pink block For the Community. Please follow us at Grenfell Campus on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok.
And I want to thank our guest this week, Mr. Dean Simon. A really exciting opportunity for us to all learn a little bit more about the Mi'kmaq language and all Aboriginal languages, and to our friends Krista Hansen, Melanie Callahan, and David Smallwood for filling us in on the events of the month here in beautiful Western Newfoundland. That's it for this week. We'll see you next Tuesday on another episode of West Talk.
Come to where the land and the spirits are intertwined. Discover a whole new way to see this place. Feel the earth under your feet as you walk the path of our ancestors. Immerse yourself in our traditions. Ours is a culture alive with music, dance, art, nature, and adventure. It's in the air, the water, the sound of the wind in the trees. It's in the stories of our elders and the faces of our children, those with a shared history yet to discover. It's knowing that everything that casts a shadow has a spirit. Everything is alive. See what we see. Experience Malibu.
If you have a comment about this program, we'd love to hear it. Email or call us, or send us your feedback through social media.
When it comes to drugs, how much freedom is too much for kids?
Drugs are out there. Will my teen feel free to say no around other kids?
I didn't live drug-free when I was younger. Can I admit that to my kids?
Drugs worry me, but how can I feel free to talk about it with my kids?
Questions about drugs and kids? Drug-Free Kids Canada.
Watching hockey just got a power play with NHL Center Ice and Super Sports Pack. With up to 37 out-of-market NHL games a week, you'll always catch your favorite team no matter where you live. Whether it's big matchups you're looking for or following your top fantasy picks, it's all here. NHL Center Ice, part of the Rogers Super Sports Pack. All this for only $35.95 a month. Say Super Sports Pack into your voice remote to order.
We can be hurt. We can be bruised. We can be broken. Slowed down, confused, and even numbed.